Welcome, friends. This is Dr. Shailesh Borkar with you, and today we shall be doing a small topic that is the overview of Indian society. Very interesting, and this is part of the syllabus of your foundation course for the first year, first sem for FYBCOM, FYBMS, and other first years. It's very interesting because it gives us an overview of our society, the society that we live in, that we experience every single day. The first aspect of the Indian society is pluralism. It says the world is one family. That is the basis of the Indian society. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now, India is multi-religious, it is multilingual, it has a hierarchical caste system, and of course, there is the influence of Western culture. We shall see all these facets one after the other. Now, let us go on to the demographic composition of the Indian society. The majority of the population are Hindus. We have a variety of religions. These are only a few to name them. There are others as well, but those which are very evident are these. Hindus constitute around 80% of the Indian population. Muslims, that is, those who follow Islam, are around 13%. Christians are around 2%. Sikhs are around 2% again. Buddhists around 1%, that is 0.8%. Jains are 0.4%, and others are 0.7%. That gives us a total of the Indian population. This is a demographic composition, but the binding factor is pluralism. Now let us have a look at the caste-wise composition of the Indian society. Scheduled castes and scheduled tribes form a major section of the society, primarily because they have to face very stringent conditions in life. All the halves of life are not available to them. Scheduled castes constitute around 16.2% of the Indian population, and scheduled tribes constitute around 8.2% of the Indian population. The point is, these figures are according to the 2011 census, because the 2021 census did start, but it had to stop midway because of the coronavirus. It was never completed. So maybe these figures have changed, maybe slightly. But otherwise, we go by the 2011 census, which gives us these figures. Now, this caste-wise composition, what are the factors responsible for the growth of the caste system in the Indian society? First, it is the illiteracy of the people. It has made people orthodox, and they blindly follow caste rules and restrictions without any questions at all. Now, way back, the rulers, you know that before independence, India was ruled by the British, yes. But what is even more so is that we had princely states, 562 princely states to be exact. And the rulers in those princely states did not enforce any uniform customs, and they recognized various customs of different groups of people, which in turn encouraged the caste system. Now, the hereditary occupations of the people, especially in rural areas, kept alive the caste system. Now, how is that? Because the profession of one group continued to be so for a long period of time. Now, the gender-wise composition. See, these are various ways in which we understand the Indian society. We saw the demographic composition, we saw the caste system, now the gender-wise composition. And perhaps this is where India falters majorly. As we can see, the number of females per 1,000 males was 972 way back in 1901, and in 2011 it is 940. Unfortunately, it has reduced. Now, what does this gender-wise composition tell us? Now, among the states, Kerala has the highest gender ratio of 1,084 females. That is, the number of women in the state of Kerala are actually more than the number of males. But in Haryana, which has the lowest gender ratio, we have 877 females to 1,000 males. Now, there are many reasons for this. Let us see a few. What are the reasons for a biased gender ratio? When we talk of biased, we mean biased in favor of the male child, which goes against the female child. What are the reasons? Preference for male child in Indian societies. Every household wants male children. Practice of female feticide. Now, this has been a major problem in India, killing girls right at birth and in many inhuman ways. High infant mortality rates of females. They are not given proper medical care, and therefore, there are many women who die during childbirth. And then, of course, malnutrition of females. One need mention that in one of the worst rural practices is that the female will always have her food, her meal, only after everyone else has had their meal in the house. Now, in this dark scenario, we have this one silver lining. See, there is this one village called Piplantri, which is located in Rajasthan, the district in Rajasthan state. Here, for years now, the villagers of this of Piplantri village have been planting 111 trees every time a girl child is born. Mind you, in Rajasthan, where it do not have a high gender ratio, here in this village, 111 trees are planted every time a girl child is born, and the community ensures that these trees survive, attaining fruition as the girls grow up. And you can see consequently the whole area has gone green. One can't believe that Rajasthan, which has a huge desert area, actually has a village which is fully green. That's a silver lining. Now, the rural areas of India. As per the census of 2011, there are over 6 lakh villages in India. 68.84% of Indian population lives in villages. Easy to say, but one look at the conditions over there will tell you that the living conditions are very bad. They do not have basic amenities as we here in the cities would enjoy, let alone any future ambitions, any education, etc. But the conditions are very bad. You can see women drawing up water from the wells, and they have to face famines. There are 1,000 problems they have to deal with. Now, some characteristics of rural areas. The caste system, which is based on specialized occupation, primarily finds growth over here. And what are the characteristics of the Indian caste system, especially in the rural areas? Hierarchy of status. Someone is the landlord, then he has a higher position, and someone who is a manual laborer does not find any position at all. Then there are restrictions on food habits. Good food can be had only by those very few rich and who are at a higher post in the hierarchical status. Then there are restrictions on marriage. One cannot marry beyond the community. And then social and religious disabilities. Of course, the Indian Constitution has done away with untouchability, but to what extent this has really happened, that is a different matter altogether. Now, one primary and perhaps a good factor of the rural areas is very close relations. As we can see, all these houses are huddled together, and therefore everyone in the village knows one another. So their problems are collective, and they deal with them collectively as well. But then here we see the status of women in rural areas. We can see them doing manual work. They not only have to look after the household, do the utensils, do the clothes, do the food, and then they have to work out in the fields, and then on to beat it all, they do not have any access to education, as we can see. This all leads to poverty, lack of illiteracy, and no concern for humanity leads to poverty. Now, let us have a look at the urban areas. In contrast, the rural areas has 68.84% of the Indian population, roughly, according to 2011 census. As I said, things will be different now. But then in urban areas, the remaining 31.16% of the Indian population lives. And what do we see here in the picture is commotion, pollution, a lot of coagulation, a lot of dirty areas. We can see gutters flowing, we can see a lot of crowd, we can see a cement jungle, we can see traffic. So in spite of having all the amenities of life, there is no concern for health as such in the urban areas. Now, one of the good characteristics of urban areas is social diversity and social mobility. If one has to go out and have any grub, say for example, the um, all famous vada pav, you want to go and have that, you wouldn't question the caste or the religion of the maker of that vada pav. You would simply have it because you're hungry. You go out there, you take it from a stall and eat it up. So there is a lot of social diversity. No one's bothered about the caste system as such when it comes to urban areas, and there is social mobility. Now, this picture that you can see on your right has a woman in the lower strata of society walking aside cars, so, who we can presume are in the higher strata of society. So one does not have any restriction on making an effort and going higher up in the social ladder. Um, Now, what is this social mobility? It's a concept that explains the ability of individuals or groups to change their position within their society. Various types of mobility are absolute mobility. To give an example, when one gets a university degree, you suddenly become a graduate from an undergraduate. So that's absolute mobility which cannot be changed. Vertical mobility, getting promotion at work, that's vertical mobility. Horizontal mobility, marrying a person. So you go from an unmarried person to a married person. That's horizontal mobility. So on, there are many types of mobility which urban areas allow. Now, what about literacy? Most of the major cities and towns have literacy rate of over 70%. The highest literacy rate in 2011 was in Kerala at over 93%. But then, what is the concept of literacy? It's not reading novels or high-end books or anything to do with a future career. Literacy is the ability to slightly understand the written word and to be able to sign and to write a few words, your name and your signature. That's it. So when we talk of literacy being 93%, we mean people who can sign their names and can write their names and read a few lines maybe here and there. So to what extent that can really be considered to be literacy is anyone's guess. Now, what do we have here in addition? Literacy, yes, or maybe pseudo literacy. But then what we really have out here is unemployment and poverty. We can see a long queue of people waiting for their turn for an interview to be employed. And then in the other slide, we can see that there are many destitutes who have to make a fight to make both ends meet and for a reasonable meal at the end of the day. Now let us have a look at the tribes of India. See, there are many facets of India. It's virtually impossible to do all the facets in one particular session. So we shall have further sessions as well. But currently we shall have a look at a few sessions. We saw the demographic constitution, we saw the caste system, we saw rural areas, we saw the gender bias, we saw the problems of the urban areas. Now the tribal population of India. The tribes actually are the protectors of our forest areas. You see, forests have a lot many herbs which can be used medicinally, and these tribals actually hold the key to health because they are aware of various herbs which are in use for various medical reasons. Now, the tribal population in India constitutes 8.6%, roughly around 104 million, that is about 10 crore people of the Indian population, again as per the census of 2011. Now, the pictures may show a very rosy picture scene, but that may not really be so. What is the territorial distribution of the tribes of India? Let us have a look. The three main zones are considered: the northeastern zone, and the central zone, say around Madhya Pradesh, and the southern zone, the Dravidian areas. Let's have a look at them individually. The northeastern zone comprises the states of Eastern Kashmir, Eastern Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Northern Uttar Pradesh, Nagaland, Assam, and the other seven sisters. The total seven sisters: Manipur, Mizoram, etc., Arunachal Pradesh. So here we have a lot many tribes which are unique in nature. We shall gradually see that every one of these types have their own peculiarities, idiosyncrasies. As you can see, look at the dress sense, how they are dressed up. The Aka, the Mishmi, the Chulikata and the Naga. These are the tribes of the northeastern zone. The central zone is made up of the states of the tribes, or these are the tribes of Bihar, Bengal, southern UP, southern Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha. And what are the tribes over here? The Kond tribes, the Santhal, the Bhil, and the Gond. They have various practices. You see, say, let's take an example of the Gonds. There is this practice that they do not have any widows. Very simply, if a woman loses her husband, then she can marry the husband's brother or any other person in the tribe, so that life goes on smoothly. Now we can see the picture of our respected president over here, Draupadi Murmu, who belongs to the Santhal tribe. That gives it more importance. Now the southern zone. This includes the states of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala. And the tribes that we have, look at the habitation that they have, the huts, how they are thatched. The Toda, the Chenchu, the Kadar, and the Koraga. These are the tribes of the southern zone. So as you can see, India is a variety of existences, a variety of lives, a variety of experiences, a variety of breathing, in fact. People over here range from the richest to the poorest. The unfortunate part about the Indian system that we have lakhs of death due to starvation every year, lakhs, more than the kind of life, the number of lives that the coronavirus took away. So this basic problem has to be fought, and the basic problem of India is a huge population. Should we be able to control this, then of course we can give more education, we can make people more literate, we can help them solve their problems. So with all this variety in mind, I now sign off today. So we meet in the next session for more understanding on this topic, to understand India better, so that helps us to make us better citizens of India, more compassionate towards the problems of others, and we take steps to ensure that the society becomes better for every human living to breathe in and to live. Thank you very much. Have a nice time. This is Dr. Shailesh Borkar signing off and wishing you the best of luck in your life.